So the topic of today's sermon is two birds. Now this is a story that was told to me by my mother, Mayo. Imagine one day that you look out the window or you look out in the sky and you see two birds flying by. They're flying next to each other, flying together. If you had to take a guess what their relationship was, what would you say? A lot of people will say immediately, we've asked a lot of people, they all said something similar. Oh, they're probably married, husband-wife birds, or maybe father-mother birds. But then we asked them, what else could there be? Oh, they could be brothers, they could be sisters, they could be grandfather and grandson, grandfather and granddaughter. They could be two gay birds, they could be two lesbian birds, they could be two stranger birds, they could be two enemy birds. There's many things that could be. However, when I asked you the question in the beginning, we usually pick one answer and we stick with it. Oh, it's obvious that they're husband-wife. They're obvious that they're brother-sister. Depends on what you look at. Now, why does this matter? Because the thing is, once you make a decision, what we call in Buddhism is that you become attached to it. You see one decision, you make a guess, and suddenly you think, that's the right answer. And so you start doing things that can get you in trouble. Now the thing is, if you were a gambling person, if you went to Vegas or you're a gambler, and you went to play a game that had these kind of chances, where you thought it would turn out this number for sure. If you were so sure, how much would you bet? You would bet everything, because you're completely sure this is what's going to happen. But if you realize that the probability of winning is actually 1 in 10, 1 in 20, 1 in 100, 1 in 1,000, 1 in 1,000,000, how much would you bet? More or less. A smart person would bet a lot less. Why? Because there's a huge possibility of losing. It's not worth the risk to bet all your money on a 1 in 1,000, a 1 in 1,000,000. You could lose everything. However, in the real life, we do the same thing. So many men have made this mistake. We go up to a woman, we see her have a little small round stomach, and so we ask her, oh, are you pregnant? How many months along are you? And she says, no, I am not pregnant. I've just had too much to eat, and you get in trouble. Why? Because we saw two birds. We saw a woman with a round stomach, obviously pregnant. These are the kind of things that we do that make mistakes. Sometimes we see a man and a woman come together. Oh, husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend. And you ask them, oh, how long have you been dating? They're like, ew, that's my sister. Oh, sorry. How often do we make these mistakes? It's because we train ourselves to believe whatever we think. But what we think is not always true. Sometimes it can get you into a lot of trouble. In fact, this whole concept is the basis for all Thai and Korean sitcoms. Is it not? It's always the same story. Handsome doctor works at a hospital. Wife is worried that he has another girlfriend. The girlfriend comes to the hospital to say hi to her husband. The doctor suddenly is laying on the floor with a beautiful woman. She sees the two together. I knew you were cheating on me. But in reality, what happened? She is a patient who fell down. The doctor caught her, taking her to surgery. It has nothing to do with what you saw. But what does the girl do? The girl slaps him or kills him or hurts him, and then it's a big legal problem. This is the basics for almost all sitcoms, is the two birds. And so it's very important that instead of allowing the two birds to dominate your life, you should be able to see through it and understand that there's so many possibilities. Let's wait and see. Let's be cautious. Let's be careful, as opposed to just jumping into the water. If you see fire, do you just touch it? If you see a hot pan, do you just touch it? No, you're very careful. But if you were sure that it's not hot, you would grab it all the way. And imagine how badly your hand would be burned. It's the same thing. So from now on, when you see something and you make an assumption, don't forget to think about the two-bird story, because it might not be what you thought.